This is manna from heaven for me, this. I think this could be adopted as national policy for all cities. Keep the cyclists out of towns, let them cycle around in velodromes in the country if they want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in favour of blanket bans. I'm not denying there's an issue. It would be remiss of me to say that there just isn't an issue here with, say, pavement cycling and irresponsible cycling, because it does happen, and I see it myself.
And dangerous cycling, right?
Yes. Well, I mean, the pavement should be a sanctuary. You know, the pavement should be a sanctuary, particularly for the elderly and the very young. I know I've mentioned previously on your programme about the update to the Highway Code in 2022 that put pedestrians right at the top of the what's called the hierarchy of vulnerability. So that is the legal background, and that is important.
Yeah.
But I am personally against a blanket ban. We all notice the irresponsible cyclist who flies through without a care for anyone. But the thing is, there are other people on bikes. There are some people on bikes because they're disabled and they actually can't walk.
Disabled?
You know, I've had a few. Yeah. I mean,
if you can't walk, how can you ride a bike?
Well, plenty of people can. I mean, I've had a few clients say to me.
How?
No, I'll tell you why. Because the thing is the impact of walking or say running is harder for them physically.
Right.
Cycling's no impact. I've had a few.
Why don't you just get a cab?
The thing is,
we don't have to clog up the streets with cycles. We've got enough cyclists.
Well, okay, but
that's the worst argument I've ever heard for cycling. Disabled people who can't walk and going to cycle.
Mike, I've had a couple of clients say to me that my bicycle is my wheelchair. Now that's a line.
It's not true, is it?
Well, no, it is true.
No, it isn't.
I mean, I represent people who get badly hurt. Okay, badly hurt. They can have significant hip injuries, for example, for coming off a bike and need a hip replacement. The only way they can then go to the shop, say in Birmingham, is by gently cycling. And they're not able to walk for, say, a mile.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, you're now clutching at straws here, Kevin. I mean, for heaven's sake. I mean, these are not the bulk of people, right? There is such a thing as a delivery service now. And you don't have to go to the shop if you don't need to. You can get the stuff brought to your house.
Well, the irony of that's a good point. But the irony of that is that part of the reason that Birmingham are thinking about this is because of the uptick in delivery in cycle deliveries, like the food, the cargo bikes. That's part of the reason.
The electric bikes, which are even more dangerous.
Well, yes, but again, another issue is the financial pressure that these companies are putting on these riders to do deliveries, and they're paid per delivery, and therefore they're cycling faster. So that's a wider problem.
Yeah,
I just think a blanket.
Well, would you
ban,
be in favour of banning them?
Well, I think the council need to think a bit harder about what to do. I mean, I think a blanket ban is an easy thing to do.
Well, what else could they do?
Signage,
what else could they do?
Cycle speed humps, they can do those.
What?
You know, increase signage.
Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for cycle speed humps?
Well, it's worth paying for because
it's not.
When people it is.
It's our money. No, you don't use taxpayers' money to put speed bumps in for cyclists. It's a lot cheaper to just tell them to stay out of the way.
Well, Mike, the thing is, everyone who's on a bike is saving the NHS money. Everyone who's on a bike is saving. Yes, they are.
Rubbish.
Yes, they are.
How can you even quantify?
It's not rubbish at all.
How can you quantify that? You work as a lawyer defending people who've been injured. When they get injured, where do they go?
Well, they obviously go to the NHS.
There you go.
The thing is that. Yes,
so they cost the NHS more money than people walking, unless you happen to be hit by a cyclist, in which case you have to go to the NHS.
Mike, all the research shows that cyclists live longer lives and live healthier lives because of the
absolute cobblers.
Mike, I think it's also worth saying that that Birmingham have got a proactive travel in their blueprint. That's what they. That's
not going too well, is it? Because now they're banning cycling.
Well, exactly, but that's my point. A blanket ban on cyclists is incompatible with the pro-cycling.
Well, nobody told them they should have a pro-cycling agenda. Nobody's asked for a pro-cycling agenda. Sadiq Khan's got one in London. Nobody asked him to have a pro-cycling agenda either. Nobody asked him to carve up all the roads so that the cars sit in traffic jams constantly throughout the course of the entire day, creating so much pollution that people, according to Sadiq Khan, are dying as a result of the air not being clean enough.
Well, Mike, a lot of them could get out of their cars and jump on a bike. You know, I mean, that's.
Well, they could, but unfortunately, some of them have got cars that they need for their work because they have to carry around pieces of equipment that you can't put on a bike, right?
Well, yeah, that's right. But that comes back to my point about a blanket ban being just too black and white. You know, you're covering everyone, and some people need to cycle because they're disabled. You know,
I've never heard such a ridiculous argument in my life. I mean, that really is. I don't know why you keep coming back to that. You must have a better argument than that.
Well, no, it's a small amount, but some people.
Yeah, how many? All right, how many? As a percentage of the people that you represent, how many would you say percentage-wise cycle because they're disabled?
I'd say probably around 10 to 15%.
Rubbish.
Probably something like that.
No, I'm not having that.
But Mike, you know, the thing is, I represent many young cyclists who are, you know, very fit and young. But the thing is, they get bad leg they get bad leg injuries.
I thought you said cyclists weren't a drain on the NHS. Sounds like they're constantly getting injured.
Well, no, but they're not constantly getting injured. But you know, but the thing is,
but that's what you do, isn't it? You represent cyclists who get injured.
It's exactly what I do. It's exactly what I do.
So there's a lot of them getting injured. Otherwise, you wouldn't be making any money, would you?
Well, there's obviously some getting injured. Accidents happen. About 5 people a day.
But that's your job to look after the ones that get injured, right?
Of course it is. Of course it is. And that's why I'm sensitive to injuries and sensitive to disability.
Right. So you're telling me on the one hand that the NHS doesn't get used by cyclists except for the people that get injured who you represent, right? And a small percentage of those people cycle even when they're injured because they're disabled.
What I'm also saying to you is cyclists live longer lives, and
no, it just feels like it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, over the whole breadth of cyclists, they save the NHS money. There's clear research on
that. There's no, I don't believe it. Listen, don't believe. I can find you research that will tell you that half of the population think, God exists. Right? Doesn't mean it's true. It's just research. It doesn't mean anything.
No, I get that, but the thing is.
So stop telling me then that it's real, because it's not.
But I know it's, but it is, because the thing is, you know, the reason that councils promote active travel.
How do you know, right? If you walk into a hospital, how do you know where the cyclists are? It's not like they've got a big stamp on their head going, "I'm a cyclist," is it?
Of course you don't.
So how can you possibly measure whether cyclists live longer or don't go to the NHS? How can you?
Well, it's
you can't measure it.
There's loads of papers on that. There's loads.
I don't care how many papers there are. You can't measure it.
It's possible to, Mike. It's not my job to measure these things. It's my job to represent
injured cyclists who you say don't get injured and not a strain on the NHS. So you're going around in circles.
Mike, of course they get injured.
Can't we just ban them and then we wouldn't even have to talk about it?
But Mike, there's plenty of motorists who do 50 and a 20. You know, they do 50 and a 20. Irresponsible.
Yeah, they get fined for that, and then they get banned. You're against banning things. Are you against banning drivers who speed?
No, I'm against banning. I'm against banning generally. You know.
So you wouldn't ban drivers who speed?
No, I try to penalise them for breaking the, for doing something. So you
wouldn't. So you wouldn't ban drivers if they got 12 points on their licence?
Oh no! I mean, the thing is, obviously, if they get enough points on their licence, then of course.
So then you would ban them. So you're not against banning drivers?
No. Well, that's after they.
But you said you were against banning things.
No, I am generally.
Well, you're not against banning drivers.
No, that's different, because the thing is, it's different because they're making so many mistakes and incurring so many points.
Yeah, but if a cyclist runs into somebody, they don't get banned from cycling, do they?
No, they don't get banned from cycling.
So they don't have a point system. But if they did have a point system, well, maybe, how about this? Would you be in favour of banning cyclists if there was a point system which gave them 3 points every time they went through a red light? And so when they accrued 12 points, having gone through 4 red lights, they'd be banned. Would you go for that?
I could see some equality in that with the motorists. So, yeah.
Is that a yes?
Yeah.
There you go. So now you're in favour of banning cyclists?
No, but it's not. But that's not a question of.
You are. You just said it.
But Mike, no. But hold on. That's a question of going through, getting one thing wrong after another, and then
cyclists do that all the time. I can take you. You come to London, right? I will take you to the office where I work. I'll take you down the road. We'll stand at the traffic light, and we can watch how many cyclists go through the red light, and it'll be practically all of them.
I'm not denying there's an issue. I'm really not denying that.
It's not an issue. It's dangerous.
Yeah, no. It's there's irresponsible people. Some of them are on bikes. Some of them are in cars. I mean, another point is that cars will do a lot more damage. But I'm not denying.
Not necessarily, not to pedestrians, because cyclists runs into a pedestrian, particularly on one of those electric bikes. They could kill them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway, listen, it's been a pleasure.